Today is Thursday, Parashat Re'eh. The parasha of this week includes in it many mitzvot. One interesting aspect about the parasha of this week, there is a verb in Hebrew which is lismoach, to rejoice. And the book of Devarim includes in it 12 times the mention of that root word of lismoach, to rejoice. 7 of them, of those 12 mentions, are in the parasha of this week. So important it is to serve Hashem besimcha, with joy and with happiness, to do the mitzvot with a certain amount of enthusiasm, and that is a very big part of doing mitzvot. But there is one pasuk in the parasha of this week that speaks about the Jewish people being a holy people. It says, Ki am kadosh ata Hashem Elokecha, because you are a holy people to Hashem your God. And Hashem has chosen you to be a treasured people for Him. From all the nations that are upon the earth. So Hashem has chosen us as His chosen people. We are, as it says in other places in the Torah, Mamlechet Kohanim Begoy Kadosh, a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. And unfortunately, many times we forget that, and we forget that we have a responsibility as a light unto the nations to set an example for others. And they do, many times, the Goyim intuitively expect us to have a ethical conduct beyond any other nation, to have certain standards of behavior that are higher level than others. And it is our duty and our mission to set the standards, to be an example unto the nation in terms of many ways that the Torah has given us, through the laws of the Torah, through the mitzvot of the Torah, and through the fact that we are a chosen nation. We are Am Kadosh, a holy nation, and we have to realize that, and not to sell ourselves short in terms of who we are, what we present in the world, and what is our duty and mission in the universe, basically. So this pasuk is an important pasuk to always remember. And they say in French, noblesse oblige. It's an old expression where you are a noble person, you have an obligation to act in a certain manner. And as the Jewish people, we do have a certain amount of quote-unquote nobility. And in order to carry that title well, we have to be always an example in terms of our behavior to the nations, etc. However, what is interesting is this pasuk that speaks about our holiness comes just before a subject in the parasha that has to do with kosher food. Right afterwards, the next pasuk, Lo tochal kol to'eva, do not eat any abomination. And then it goes into the laws that have to do with what animals are we allowed to eat and not to eat, what fish we're allowed to eat, not to eat, what birds we're allowed to eat, and what birds we're not allowed to eat, because the majority of the birds actually we can eat, but just a smaller amount of species we're not allowed to eat. But because we're not exactly familiar with the names of all the different birds, that's why we eat only those birds that we have a tradition that they are kosher. And the idea of eating kosher food for a Jew is a very important aspect of who we are. Actually, the holiness of Am Yisrael is also connected in a way to the laws of what we are, because what we eat becomes who we are. And it has an impact not just on the physical aspect of the body, but also on the spiritual. The pasuk elsewhere says, Venit betem bam. If a person eats non-kosher food, Venit betem, it becomes impure. It becomes the opposite of being tahor, of being ritually pure. It becomes impure, but not just physically. It actually has to do a lot with spiritually. Hachamim explain, Venit metem, venit tamtem bam. Through eating non-kosher food, it dulls the spiritual capacity of a person to be able to connect with holiness and to be able to connect and understand certain deep understandings of the Torah. So, if a person does not observe the laws of kashrut, he will not be able to feel as good a connection with the holiness of the Torah. And it's been proven in the past. When someone was not observing the laws of kashrut, he was not able to connect as well. But as soon as he started observing the laws of kashrut, mitzvot fell well into place. I even had someone tell me that he had a hard time reading Hebrew letters, the Lashon HaKodesh, the holy language. And he told me as soon as he started observing the laws of kashrut, he felt a certain ease in being able to read the Hebrew letters. That's an amazing concept, but it's an important one to always keep in mind. And nowadays, it's very easy in most cities to find kosher food in supermarkets. Many of the products that are sold commercially have kosher symbols on them, so that makes it easier than maybe it was at some other times in recent history when the products did not have, or some countries that maybe are not so well organized in terms of their kashrut organizations. But here in the US, it's fairly easy to observe the laws of kashrut, and it's an important aspect of being Jewish. It's not just I'm Jewish in my heart, or I feel that I'm Jewish, or I'm proud of being Jewish. It's also how you lead your life, and what you eat is who also makes you who you are. And very important, as you observe the laws of kashrut, you'll be able to connect better with what Judaism is all about. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.